Welcome back to the garage. So this is the second part of our three-part series of removing a K-series from an 8th gen Civic. And we're breaking this down into 3 stages. So our first stage was access. If you're interested in that, that's our last video. Second stage is going to be disconnect and drain. Third stage is break it and remove it. Today we're going to talk about disconnect and drain. Really, we're only going to be focusing on the right side of the motor. So remember, we're starting from the top, working to the bottom, from right to left. This is where everything is that we need to disconnect. So we're going to be disconnecting our fuel line. We're going to disconnect some vacuum hoses, our heater core hoses, obviously our radiator hoses, our top and our bottom. We're going to pull those off. There's also a few sensors up here that we're going to have to pop. And then there's one thing that we're going to need to do on the left side, and that is our ground cable. And it's just right here on top of the motor mount. I'll show you where that is and how to get it off. Then we're going to move to the bottom of the car. And this is where everything to do with drain happens. We're going to drain our radiator. We're going to drain our engine oil. We're going to drain our gearbox as well. Honestly, after this stage, after disconnect and drain, you're like 85 to 90% there. Let's get into it today on disconnecting and draining. And we're going to start with these hoses and these hose clamps. Keep in mind, we're dealing with rubber hoses. Some of them, these ones are still kind of squishy and malleable. Some of them are going to be really hard and brittle. They live a very hard life in your engine bay. They just get baked continually. So some of these things might be pretty toast. So you just got to be a little gentle with them and take your time and be a little patient with them. Because what you don't want to do is tear a bunch of hoses. You can buy replacements, sure, but it's always better to use what you have so you're not wasting money or wasting time. Just be gentle. You're going to want to break things free without tearing things apart. Let me show you what we need to do here. So before we move any clamps, we're just going to identify what needs to be taken off and what needs to stay. So really what you want to do is just look visually at what's going to be attached to the motor and what's attached to the chassis. We don't need to remove a bunch of chassis stuff. So it's not terribly difficult. It's just identifying the things that are going to stay on the chassis and the things that can come with the motor. We don't have to go overboard and disconnect everything and remove everything. A lot of stuff is going to stay in the chassis. Let's start working on these hoses in the back. These ones are kind of the worst ones to get done. So let's start there. These are the most common kinds of clamps you're going to encounter. These pinch clamps, just use pliers. So we pinch them together, wiggle them off, get them clear. All you're trying to do is clear the nipple part here. So let's see if we can get this one. Just pinch it lightly and rock it. See if you can get it to break its seal. And then just push and pull. Again, we're wanting to be gentle. You don't want to tear things. There, that's our first one. We'll work on the next ones. While we're here, we're going to take this bulkhead connector off. Again, so this is the main loom from your ECU into the engine. So we've already disconnected our ECU. We've had these levers, which are really handy. Bulkhead has the similar design. So this one, instead of pushing down on the tab, you're going to push up. You're going to pull up back here and then pull that lever forward. Just like that, and then pop it. So there you go. That is disconnected. So that is your engine loom disconnected now. So all that's left is there's just a few tabs that are connecting it. And that's it. Your ECU main engine harness is disconnected. So we're going to pop the loom off of this bracket here. Just pinch that with pliers, it'll come out. And then there's one back here, and you'll see these a few places. These can be tricky, but you just push up on this lever, this ting, and then pull. And it'll release itself from this bracket. So there you go. So that is the entire loom done. Let's talk about our fuel line. This one can be a bit intimidating, so we'll walk you through it. First of all, high likelihood that fuel is going to come out of this when you pop it. So just something here to catch the fuel. So there's this protective cover. You just want to pull that. You can peel it off. That, there you go. You're going to want to keep this, so keep track of that. Let's talk about safety for a second. If you're dealing with anything like fuel related corrosive fluid, like fuel, get some eye protection, all right? I always wear these when I'm working. It doesn't matter on what I'm working on, if it's liquid or not. I'm always wearing this just because why not? Like, these are 10 bucks. They're ANSI rated. I got them on Amazon. Just get yourself some eye pro. Also gloves, you know, rubber gloves are gonna be great for this. These are just the Gorilla Grip gloves, but just take some precautions to protect yourself, okay? That's it, PSA. All right, let's get back. Removing these fuel lines, not very difficult. They make a special tool for this, but honestly, you don't need it. Just get your hook pliers. You're going to push down on the tabs, and then you're just gonna pull. There we go. Mine didn't squirt out fuel this time, which is good. My car's been sitting for a while, so it probably didn't have a whole lot of fuel pressure. But if you're gonna do this, like if you've driven it in the last day or two, more than likely this is gonna spray some fuel. It won't be like a huge jet, but it'll be enough, right? So just have something ready to catch the fuel. And again, wear some eye protection. You don't want gas in your eye. So now we've come to our first drain phase. So we've got a good start on disconnecting up here. We've got our fuel line disconnected, a couple of vacuum lines, but we're gonna wanna start getting our heater core hoses off and our radiator hoses off. So to do that, we need to get the coolant out first. So that's what we're gonna do now. I'm just gonna jump under the car. I'm gonna get the radiator draining, then we can jump into those hoses. All right, this is pretty much done draining. I took the upper radiator hose off. That's the easiest one to get to. I took the lower radiator hose off as well. Now we're at a point where we can just remove the radiator. This is just the line that leads to your overflow reservoir. So just disconnect that. Now there's a couple of sensors you're gonna need to take care of. So there's our fan sensor. It's just right here. It's just a pinch and a pull. So we've taken care of those kinds of sensors before. So we'll lay that in the engine bay. There's gonna be 2 of those because you have 2 fans. There we go. Those are those sensors. So those are our fans. We're gonna label these sensors later. We'll put tape on them. We'll tell them where they go. So this is just radiator fan. You know, there's one more sensor, yeah, down at the bottom. That's the temperature sensor. So that one is removed. Now, should be free. There we go. Radiator's out. It goes in the box. This next bit is going to be really difficult to film because there's no good place to put the camera, unfortunately. But let me just point out what we're going to do. We want to get these hoses. This is your heater core hose. Same here. We're going to get these disconnected. Those are the 2 main, and then there's this last one right here, which is, I think that's a vacuum hose for your brake booster. So we'll get this guy and we'll get these 2. That's all the hoses in the back that you need to worry about. Everything else stays on the engine. So all of that's disconnected. We're good to go there. We have the radiator out, so hoses are disconnected. That's good to go. The next thing we're gonna do is our shifter cables. So shifter cables, really easy. It's just a cotter pin. So you just pinch them and pull them out, just like that. So now this lifts right off, just like that. Then there's another one on top. It's the same process. You pull the cotter pin and you pop off the cable. So now with the cables loose, you can get to all of the bolts that you need to. And there's only 3 of them. There's 12 millimeters. There's one here, right there, and right there. We've got our shifter cables removed. So that gives us enough clearance to grab these bolts. So get in the back. That one you're gonna have to wiggle it on. There we go. If I remember correctly, these bolts are different lengths. So just keep in mind. This one might be the long one. I honestly can't remember. Yep, memory is not failing me. So the longer one goes on closest side to the engine, and then the other 2 go on closest side to the frame rail. But just keep track of those, put them in the bag. That's gonna be your shifter cable bracket. And now that is off. Forgot one detail on the shifter cables. So you have your bracket removed, you are going to need to remove this connector. This is the shifter cable. I think so that's a solenoid. That is going to need to come off, and it's just a pinch connector, so you pinch it and you pop it off, and then this shifter cable is, that situation is taken care of. All the hoses are disconnected. We have the transmission, the shifting cable bracket removed, and I just take a bungee cord and I scoot all of that over. So these are all of my hoses and my fuel line and my shifter cable bracket. Just push it up over here. The rest of this wiring harness, it looks a little messy, but honestly, this is as easy as it gets. This is the main loom. You just drape it that way. Here's your charging cable for your battery. Same thing, drape it over the top. So everything, we can just fold it over. So all of that wiring is coming with the motor. And honestly, that's all the wiring that you need to worry about. Everything else is pretty much done. Like your radiator fan loom, that's staying with the chassis, so it can just stay here in the engine bay. This is the package. This is ready to go. So from here, we've disconnected most of what we need to. We're going to go on to the drain phase, where we're going to get the motor oil, we're going to get the gearbox oil, and then that will be pretty much it for this phase. We're so close. We're going to move over to the left side of the motor real quick. We're going to disconnect AC compressor. I'm lucky, I've had the AC evacuated, so I can disconnect those lines. Otherwise, you have to keep, we talked about this before. We do not want to vent our AC system to the atmosphere. It's incredibly toxic, and depending on where you live, it's incredibly illegal as well. So get it drained before you start this process. If you don't have it drained, it's okay. It just makes it a little more complicated. So we can leave the AC system intact without cracking any of the hoses or the compressor. It's just you have to wait for the final stage. Essentially what you're going to do is remove the AC compressor and then push everything to the side. So this will all stay in the car, including the compressor. Mine is drained, so I don't need to worry about that. I'm going to disconnect this line, leave the AC compressor, and then we can start working on the serpentine belt. This is going to need to be removed. See, the alternator can stay. The accessory belt will get removed. Our mounting point for the hoist is going to be here, and we're going to be here on the transmission. So we are almost there. This stage is almost complete. One of the last things on top is going to be the slave cylinder. So it's two 12 millimeters right here. Just break those loose. There we go. So with the slave, we don't have to completely, we don't need to disconnect it from its hard line. We can just remove it from the block and from the shifting fork, and then just leave it in the engine bay. So there's that. Now we'll just pull. Got a lot more fluid in the radiator hose. Found it. So slave is disconnected. You just push it back away from the fork and pull out. And then there's one 10 millimeter on this bracket, and I'll show you right where it is. Follow your hard line from your slave cylinder, and it goes right here. This is the soft line for your clutch. So it comes right here into this bracket. Just remove that bolt, the 10 millimeter. Your slave cylinder is free. So you just take it, and this, hard line doesn't move, flex line does. So you can just move it right there. Now it's completely out of the way, you don't need to worry about it. And while you're here, this is the ground. So the transmission side ground wire. Pop that off too, it's a 10 millimeter. So that ground, just move it off and away. So now everything is disconnected. All the wiring harness is coming with the engine. There's nothing left that's connecting the engine to the chassis. All right, now we're moving from the right to the left side of the engine. The first thing we're going to tackle is just the ground wire, and it's attached right to your engine mount. Careful when it's coming out, you don't want to drop it down this side because it's hard to fish out. Ask me how I know. Okay, there we go. So that's out, simple 10. Put that in your baggie, don't lose it. All right, so that's disconnected. The next thing we need to disconnect on the left side is the serpentine belt, and I'll show you that. Okay, we're just gonna make ourselves a little bit of room here. I'm gonna remove the AC line bracket. Just again, it just makes our lives a little bit easier. We can flop this line out of our way. So take that, here we go. gives you a little bit of play. That just gives you enough room to like push things around. Serpentine belt is going to need to come off because we need to remove this pulley, the upper pulley, and that's going to be one of our mount points. And it's also, you need that out of the way so you can access your motor mount a little easier. To get the serpentine belt off, you've got to remove tension from the tensioner pulley. So to do that, you got to snake your wrench down here, and it's tight. It's between the engine mount and your ABS, so it's tight. The best way to do it is just to get one of these low profile serpentine belt wrenches. I think this is an aftermarket belt because it's a 15 millimeter bolt, which is really weird. I thought these were 14, but the 15 is what seems to be fitting. You got to get your wrench down there. Again, it's tight, so get it on. So you pull back. It's going to remove tension from the belt and then slide it off. So there we go. So now that belt is free. To get it down around the crank, it's easier just to get under the car and pull it down. But it's weird. Like, I think that's an aftermarket pulley because it's a 15 millimeter. It's really weird. So next on the list is going to be our idler pulley up here. These are just 12 inch or 12 millimeter bolts. So grab a wrench. There's only 2 of these bolts, so it's not too crazy. There's really no wrong way to remove these, unless you tighten them instead of remove them, like I just did. It's a little tight in here, so box end wrench will do it just fine. You can use your ratchet as well. You can get it in there, but I have the ratcheting box end wrenches, and they're just so much easier to use. So I use them. So we're removing this because this is going to be a jack point, a connection point for our engine hoist. So we're going to use these bolt holes, and you can even use these bolts as a jack point. So take those. We're going to bag this up just so we don't lose it. The next thing we need to remove is our tensioner pulley, and that one can be a little bit of that one's a little difficult to get out, but we'll get it. So let's go bag this up so we don't lose it. All right, this pulley wants to be done the hard way. So you're gonna have to break it with your serpentine wrench and then just get in here with a normal fixed end box end wrench. All right, okay, bolt is out. So now, you just gotta pull it, and there it is. So you will have this washer. You want to keep that washer, but 15? Yeah, it is. Jeez. Honda, you are trolling. 15 millimeter on a JDM car. How dare you? On to the next thing. We're getting really close to our third phase, which is break it and remove it. So while I'm here, again, hit it with some oil. Just get every bolt that you're going to need to touch, because these things, they are torqued on here pretty good, and they've just been getting a ton of heat cycles, so they will not want to come gently. We'll just say it like that. We're going to get the car up off the ground and get under it, and we'll finish the drain portion of disconnect and drain. Engine oil, gearbox oil. Engine oil, I think most of us have probably done an engine oil change. So our drain plug right here, it's 17 millimeter. We just want to spin that out. Obviously get something to catch it with. And then gearbox oil is actually going to be up here. For this, you don't need a socket. It's actually just your 3/8 driver will fit right in that, and that will break it loose. That is not good. I had other problems going on with this. That's really milky. So, like, it should not look like that, guys. It should look amber or black, but not caramel. But yeah, that's not good. That is not what you want to see coming out of your gearbox or your motor. Good thing this one is done. Okay. So that's the last bit of disconnect and drain. The last thing that we're going to tackle in disconnect and drain is kind of the biggest job for this, which is removing the axles. This one can be a bit intimidating, but again, if we break it up into little stages, it goes by a lot easier and a lot quicker. So stage one for this is we're going to get the car back on the ground, and let's tackle the axle nuts. So axle nuts can be a little intimidating because they are torqued on there to the moon. These things are tight. There's a few different ways you can do it. You can hit it with an impact gun, but you're going to want something that's rated for 1,000 foot-pounds or higher. Anything below that, it's not going to do it. The easiest, cheapest method I've found is just use good old-fashioned leverage. So get yourself a long breaker bar. This one is 36 inches. Get yourself a 1/2 inch breaker. Now you've got some effective leverage, and these are going to need a 36 millimeter nut. So before you do any of that, you're going to want to unstake the axle nut. So you'll want to pry it up and free it from the axle itself. And then hopefully you never skipped a leg day, because it's going to take some effort to pop that thing. If it's stuck on there, hit it with oil first. Try to pop it that way, then get some heat on it. You're going to torch. Just put a lot of heat into that nut. Try to get it there. If that doesn't work, penetrant oil, and then heat, and then hitting it with a hammer square on the axle will kind of shock it free sometimes. You want to be a little gentle there, but you're just trying to break the threads. You're trying to break that thread loose. Oil, heat, and leverage are going to be your three best friends to get these axle nuts off. So I'll show you, I'll pop mine off right now. These ones I know are already going to spin. I've taken these axles off before, so I know I can get these ones to pop. Here we go. So get it seated. I'm going to do it a little lower because with this, again, like, you're not trying to lift with your back. I'm not a gym person, but your legs are your biggest muscle group here. So just grab and lift. I will admit, I cheated. I broke mine loose off camera, but that's the method. Getting your socket set. You're going to want to get all the way to the end of your bar, and don't try to do it with your arms like this. You're going to pull out your back. Do it with your legs, so squat. So it's a power lift. So up and over. And if that doesn't get it on the first try, don't feel bad. It's just a stuck bolt. So just work it the way you would any other stuck bolt. Penetrant oil, heat, leverage. That'll get it done every time. And if you do have a impact gun that goes above 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, your life gets way easier. That'll zip that off real quick. But that's the cheap and easy way to do it. Leverage is your friend. So once the axle nut is free and you can spin it with your fingers, leave it on there for now. We're going to get the car up off the ground, and we need to take our wheel off. You're going to do that on both sides. So get the car up, get the wheels off on both sides, and then we can tackle what's left of this nut. So the nut is going to be easy enough to spin with your fingers. Once you crack it loose, you can get it off with your fingers. So the next thing we need to do, though, is break it free from the hub. So right now it's stuck in there, so we got to pop it out. So get your nut on there just to protect your axle, and then just give it some blows. There we go. So it's already moving. Yeah, so it's free. So you don't have to like smash this to hell. You do not want to mushroom the top of your axle, especially if you're going to reuse them, which I'm planning to reuse mine. But just give it a little pop so you can push it free. Okay, so the next thing we need to do to get this axle out is actually under the hub. We're going to remove some lower ball joints. Okay, we need to free the hub so we can swing it out and remove this axle. To do that, we need to remove our ball joint. So we don't need to remove the actual ball joint. We can remove it right here from the lower control arm. So this is a 17. These ones are 18, but this is an aftermarket lower control arm. The OEM lower control arm, if I remember correctly, it's a 17, and I think these are 19s. But for mine, these ones are 18. So it's going to be a 17 in the back, two 18s right here. And And then we're going to get a pry bar and we're going to put it right under here under this lip. And we're just going to pry this up and out. So this ball joint will stay attached to our hub and it'll swing. It'll give us enough room to move the axle up and out of the hub. So I'm going to break these free and then we'll go from there. We're going to separate the hub from the lower control arm. So just slide your pry bar in and you'll be able to pop this off eventually. So it's now separated. So it's got enough room to wiggle. Now you can go and pull the axle. It's probably going to fight a little bit, but they typically can pull. Yeah, this one's going to fight. There we go. Come on out, kiddo. There we go. And then you can pull these right out of the transmission. Otherwise, you can just tap them. You'll tap back here and it'll pop them out. The axle is out. So what we want to try to avoid is breaking the axle seals back here. We don't want to go crazy with it because replacing those axle seals it's no fun. The easiest way to pop these out, if you can't just pull them, you're just going to get a pry bar. So under the car, you're going to get a pry bar between the axle and the transmission, and you're just going to pop it. Just give it a good push, and it should pop right out. So when it pops out, then just grab it and pull it out. You'll take it right out the front, just like that. Okay, the axles are removed. Now we got to move on to the exhaust bits. So this part's not fun. We got to connect the downpipe from the header. So as you can see here, I've already broken off a bolt in my header, which sucks. But these things are super rusty and you just got to go slow. That one, there is no saving it. As soon as I put my wrench on it, it just spun itself free and it died. So this one is moving. So I'll get this one out and then we can detach the downpipe from the header. Stage 2 is done. So disconnect and drain. We've done everything we need to. So everything on top of the motor that attaches it to the chassis has been removed. So this is great. Everything here is ready to go. Underneath, we did all the drain. So we took the radiator, we got the engine oil, the gearbox oil, that's all out and drained. We removed the axles, and then we disconnected the downpipe from the header. So the engine is all on its own. There's nothing connecting the engine to the chassis other than the motor mounts. Again, at the end of stage 2 of disconnect and drain, you're like 85–90% there. From here, we're going to move to stage 3, which is break it and remove it. So in stage 3, break it and remove it, all we're focused on is breaking the bolts for the motor mounts. We don't need to remove the motor mounts. We want to just get the bolts moving. So we're going to break the top motor mounts first, then we're going to move to the front, then to the back. That's going to be a different day in a different video. Hope you come back to us on stage 3. That's going to be break it and remove it. And then we're going to get this thing attached to engine hoist and we'll get it out of the car. Let's go.